Hello Taurus, welcome to March. This is Teresa from Tarot by T, and I'm getting ready to do your March TarotScope, your love TarotScope for March. And before I do that, I want to ring the bells and create some sacred space around this reading. And I want to say thank you all for subscribing to my channel, for watching the videos, for liking them, for commenting. I really appreciate your support, and I appreciate your comments. It's nice to get feedback. It's nice to know that people are being helped by these readings. So let's see what we have in store for March. I hope you survived February with all the eclipses we went through. February was shake-up month. Okay, so here we are in March. What does Taurus need to know about love and possibly life? What's important for March? But especially love. Let's see if we can get what's coming up for Taurus for love. And you know, sometimes I'll ask love, but the cards will come out with career, because that month maybe career is important. So I find that the tarot, I kind of go with the flow when it comes to tarot. Whatever's important is going to come out. So it may not always give us what we want, but it will definitely give you what you need. So what does Taurus need to know about love in the month of March? Relationships, love, what's coming up for March? Especially since, okay, Venus will be retrograde. Our ruling planet will be retrograde in March. So that could bring back some lovers from the past. Or at least we'll be rethinking our relationships in March. So here we go. 10 of Pentacles. 7 of Swords. 5 of Wands. Page of Wands. 4 of Cups. The Fool. The 9 of Swords, the Hangman, the Queen of Swords, the Temperance card. Okay, so here we go. The 10 of Pentacles, you know, Aries got this card too, so it's interesting. The 10 of Pentacles is a card of security, financial security. And for Taurus and most earth signs, especially Taurus, security is very important, especially in a relationship. You want to feel that you're with someone that has your back, and someone who's there for you, who makes you feel safe, who is, you know, where you can have a home together and you can enjoy your material things, because we work hard for the money and we would like to surround ourselves with beautiful things. So as you can see here, here's this guy they're under a roof, they're in a house, and they're experiencing the abundance that comes with partnership. This is the wealth card. So you're focused on money in the month of March, on how can I increase my security? How can I make more money? How can I fix up my home so that it makes me feel comfortable and safe? Because that's your sanctuary. Now you could be in a relationship, or where even though it may not have been the ideal situation, it made you feel safe. And so you kind of stuck with it, because you know how Taurus, we get comfortable. And sometimes we get too comfortable. And we don't want to see certain issues. When things start to pop up, we don't want to look at them. And that's what this 7 of Swords is about. It's about not facing something in a relationship. Not being willing to see what's going on. It can also mean someone that you felt was a major part of your life may not be honest with you. Maybe saying one thing to your face, then complaining about you behind your back. So you have to be aware with the 7 of Swords. That's the card of the thief. It's the card of someone who's sneaky, doing things behind your back when you're not looking. You're not paying attention and they're stealing from you. Or they're talking about you. behind your back in a bad way. Whatever it is, this is like sneaky, subversive energy. So if it's not you who's acting that way, then it could be your partner. It could be that you're involved with someone who's been stealing from you or taking it, even if not actual theft, like, stealing your stuff. Although that could happen with the Seven of Swords. It could also mean someone who is taking advantage of your kindness, someone who's using your generosity, and doesn't really care about you. They're just caring about what you can give them. So it could be someone who's wanting to be in your life because you have something to offer and they want what you've got to offer. Or it could be someone taking credit for your work. It's a theft in many ways. It could be a metaphorical theft where someone's taking credit for your work, or someone is stealing your ideas. Or it could be an actual physical theft. You invite someone in your home and they walk out with, they've got sticky fingers. And they walk out with something that they didn't even ask you about, they just take. You don't want these people in your life. You don't want people who you can't trust to be around you. You want to have a safe environment. So this is something you're going to be looking at in March. Who around you can you trust? And if there's a relationship where someone is being deceitful or not being honest, you're going to want to find out about it and you're going to want to move away from it. Here you have, in the past, the Five of Wands. So this is a situation of competition and fighting. In the most benign level, it could be just competing at work. Two people going after the same goal and who's going to be better, who's going to win. So there could be someone at work that is wanting something that you have and is competing with you on some level and wanting to take something from you. Your reputation, your talents, whatever. You're stealing your ideas. So you have to watch that in March. The other thing is, if you're in a relationship, it could be that you've been fighting over petty things with someone. You just can't seem to agree on anything. You just, you want to do this, he wants to do that. She wants to do this, you want to do that. And you can't agree on a common ground. You can't meet and say, okay, let's do something we both like. It's like he's going, I want bacon. You're saying, I want potato. I want to eat Chinese. He wants to eat meat and potatoes. So you're fighting over stuff that really doesn't matter. It's not like, life and death issues, but it's interfering with the relationship. And maybe you're not willing to see, because the Seven of Swords can also be not looking at things, not wanting to face the truth. So if someone's really not good for you, you've been kind of avoiding it. You know what you need to do, but you're like kind of brushing it, sweeping it under the rug. So this can be conflict. You've been experiencing conflict in a relationship. Maybe even at work, there's competition. You're working. There's no teamwork. You're not working as a team. The Page of Wands could represent the person you're involved with. And that's usually, wands usually represent fire signs. So you could be dealing with an Aries, a Leo, Sagittarius, any of these characters. And it could be a new relationship, something that has recently entered your life because it's a page. Or it could be someone who's a little bit on the immature side. So even if you've known this person a long time, they're kind of immature. And so they do things, you're like wondering, why are you doing this? Why are we fighting over this? This doesn't make sense. It's like we're like in kindergarten or we're in high school fighting over stuff. So you might have been having some issues in a relationship with someone like this, with someone who's just likes to fight over. You can't just have a conversation. It's got to lead to a battle. So you might be rethinking this person. Do I want this person in my life? Because Taurus likes, you kind of like get comfortable with someone, you get secure with someone, and you don't want to make changes. You get stuck with the familiar. And sometimes you stay too long in a situation when you need to leave. And this could be an issue that's coming up in March. Because here you have the Four of Cups. And the Four of Cups speaks to someone who's bored and not feeling appreciated. So you might be feeling like, I'm in this relationship and I don't really feel like that person cares. The person I love, I don't think they really value me. I don't think they care about my needs. You could be with someone that's always talking about themselves. It's all about them. And when it comes to you, you're like left holding the short end of the stick. So you're contemplating, maybe you're starting to think about leaving. You haven't really decided to leave yet, but you're thinking about it. Like, maybe I should go somewhere else. Maybe I should look for someone else in my life. And so this is a card of sitting around and not really taking action, but just thinking about it. And Taurus is famous for doing that. We sit down and we procrastinate when we really need to get off the couch and move. So don't wait too long. But, Venus is retrograde, so you have a couple of months before you can take action. Now here, something may be offered to you in March, though. You have this cup coming out of the clouds. I don't know if you can see it. When the cup comes out of the clouds, someone may be saying, hey, want to do this? You want to, you might have someone who's interested in you, offering you love or offering you some creative opportunity, but you're not sure you want to take it. This is a card of like, I don't know, I'm not really happy with where I'm at, but it makes me feel secure. So I'm afraid to give up my security, even though it's not the most optimal situation. And this could be in a relationship, but it could also be a career situation too. So if you're in a career that's just kind of like, yeah, I can do this job, blindfold, and I'm kind of bored, but, it pays the bills, and I'm comfortable here, I've been here a long time, and I know the routine, but it's not challenging me anymore. It could be that too, and that something is offered you and you're contemplating, like, do I want to accept this offer? Because here's the offer, this Fool card. It's like a whole new opportunity coming up. So this could be a little bit scary to the Taurus who's used to the same old, same old. You could have an opportunity to partner with someone who's totally different than anybody you've ever known before. So it could be a new relationship where you're like, hey, let's start over. Maybe you're tired of someone stealing from you, or you're tired of someone taking advantage of your kindness. You're tired of someone talking behind your back. I want something new. I'm tired of this, because when a Taurus is done, a Taurus is done. It takes us forever to get to the point of taking action. But when we do take action, it's a done deal. Like, there's no looking back. Once a Taurus makes a move, that's it. We don't look back. It takes us forever to make the move, but once we make a decision like, I'm out of here, that's it. Hell will freeze over before Taurus changes their mind. So here's this new opportunity, the Fool. And the Fool will put you in a whole new environment, a whole new ball game. And that will take away a lot of your worries. You've got this Nine of Swords here, where you've been really worried about it, or you've been thinking about, what do I do in this situation? What do I decide? What do I choose? Do I stay? Do I go? That's kind of like the energy of March. What do I do? Do I try to work things out with this person? Do I just give it up because I can't take anymore? Because we're just constantly fighting, and I just, there's no fulfillment anymore. I don't feel like I'm being valued. Do I just walk away and start over? Because this is a card of wiping the slate clean, starting over, turning over a new leaf. Now, sometimes the Fool can mean also starting over in a current relationship, where you decide, okay, let's try a new beginning. Let's try and save this relationship. And let's try to pretend we just met, and let's just forget the past. Let's fix all but you have to do that. You have to be willing to look at the sores. You have to be willing to look at what's wrong and own it, because it's not just one person, it's two people. So it's not just, you can't blame the other person, and the other person can't blame you. You have to look at each other and say, okay, where are we not connecting? What do we need to change in this relationship to save it? And how can we start over? That's a possibility too. So if you can't fix it, you might decide to just leave it. and to start over with some whole new situation. Because usually the Fool is a brand new situation. And it's scary because it's new. And Taurus is kind of, we like the familiar. So when you're in a new situation and it's a little bit unnerving for a while until you kind of settle in and kind of get a grip on the groove of the thing. So this can mean an exciting adventure though coming. And I'm thinking that you're going to like it. And so I think you should embrace it. And it will take away a lot of your worries. Because here, you might have been dealing with someone who was kind of cruel, kind of insensitive, not caring about your feelings, kind of unfair. You feel like you've been through the mill with this person. You're just tired. You're getting tired. You don't feel like you've been treated fairly. So this might be a refreshing change coming in March. An opportunity to really shake things up and bring in some fresh air. Because I feel like something is going to be ending. Some comfortable situation, some situation that you've gotten used to that's like always been there may be coming to an end, and it's time to move on, and it's time to move into something new. You have the Hangman here. This is your environment. So the Hangman, it's a card of having patience. It takes time to, develop. So this new opportunity, you may get the inklings of it in March, but it may not fully develop. It may take a while to develop. So you're going to have to be patient. This is a card of giving something up for something better. It's also a card of sacrifice. So you may feel that although you're not happy with the way your life is right now and the conditions surrounding your relationship, so it's not like a no-brainer where I'm being abused, and I really know I have to leave. It's kind of like, yeah, there are some good things, but there are some bad things. But moving into this new situation, you're going to be giving up some things that you do like. So it's not going to be without some pain that you're going to give up this old situation. There's going to be a sense of loss, but what you have to gain is going to be so much greater over time that it's going to be worthwhile. Another meaning for the Hangman is seeing things from a different perspective. So it could be that you're dealing with someone who is just different. The way they look at the world, the way they act in the world, they just don't see things the way you see them. And that's why you're having this conflict. You have two different worldviews. You see things one way, they see things another way, and you just can't come together. So to get along with this person, you're going to have to change your views or see things from their perspective, and that's been hard for you. And vice versa, that person has to see things from your perspective, and maybe they don't want to do that either. You're both kind of set in your ways, and neither one wants to budge. So that's part of the problem. The other thing about this Hangman, because of the Seven of Swords and the Nine of Swords, you may feel like there's some kind of betrayal going on. Like you've been betrayed by someone. Someone you thought you could trust. Someone you thought had your back. You may find out that they're not the loyal person you thought they were. You may find out that there's a traitor in the midst. There's someone that's been kind of a phony with you. Two-faced. This card is a two-faced card. They say to your face, they're your best friend, I love you, I love you, I love you. Then the minute you're out of the room, they're talking about you. So you're going to find that out too in March. And that might make you just decide to leave the relationship. Once you find out that you really couldn't trust this person, that they're not really who they say they are, or they're not really on your side, on your team, then you're going to realize, I've got to just move on. I can't trust this person. And I don't know, here's this Queen of Swords. and this is in your wish fulfillment sector. The Queen of Swords could have several meanings. On the one hand, the Queen of Swords can represent someone that's connected to the situation. Someone who's has this harsh energy. She's not as emotional as some of the other signs. She just goes by the facts. You cannot appeal to her emotions. This is what's real, this is what's not real, this is truth, this is not truth. But she's always fair. So there could be someone, and this could be an air sign. It could be a Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. She may be able to help you because she's in your wish fulfillment. She may be able to help you achieve a goal that you're wanting to achieve. So this could be a positive influence. Maybe you're leaving something and you're moving on to something that's connected with this person. This person somehow is going to help you move on. Maybe she gives you advice, like impartial advice. Maybe you're too emotionally involved in the situation and you need an objective opinion from someone who's not emotionally connected. So she can give you advice and say and make sense out of your dilemma. The other hand, it could be on the other hand, it could represent someone. It could represent that you have to behave like the Queen of Swords. You have to be more. You have to think more critically about your situation. What do I want? What do I have to do to get there? And not allow your emotions to make the decision. You know, you may feel like, oh, I know he's not, the perfect person, but I love him, and maybe I should keep trying, and da-da-da-da. You have to start to think like the Queen of Swords. You know what? He's not. His words don't match his behavior. It doesn't matter what someone says, it's what they do that counts. So if you had a situation where, someone's telling you how much they love you, but then when you need them, they're not there for you, or their behavior, they're treating you poorly, that's not love, So you have to think critically. How does this person mean what they say? Do they act on what they say? Does their behavior match their words? And if you find that the answer is no, then you need to leave them behind. Don't waste your time with someone who doesn't really care. Don't waste your time with phonies. You want people who are real in your life. You don't want phonies in your life. So this is in your wish fulfillment. If you really want something, if you have a dream and you want to have a good relationship, you're going to have to use that critical. You're going to have to be like the Queen of Swords, which means, and you know what the Queen of Swords does? If someone's not behaving properly and not treating you properly, she gets rid of them. Off with your head. The Queen of Swords is la belle dame sans merci, which means the beautiful woman without mercy. She's not cutting anyone any slack. If you either shape up or ship out, that's her attitude. So you may have to take that attitude with someone in your life, with a relationship, where you have to tell them, look, this is what I need, and if you keep hurting me and you keep, not fulfilling your commitments or your promises, I'm out of here, or this relationship is over. So you're going to have to take a hard stand in March. You're going to have to set some boundaries. But the beautiful thing is, here's the Temperance card. So the Temperance card, this means finding the balance. Nothing. It's a card about compromise. I see it as compromise. So if there's a relationship that's going through a rocky period, you may have to, and also with this Hangman of seeing things, from another perspective, you may have to compromise to make a relationship work. It can also mean work-life balance, finding the balance, finding the middle ground. So maybe you've been working hard and you haven't given enough attention, if you're single, to finding that special person. So even in a relationship, you could be spending so much time working that you don't have time to devote to a relationship. And so then they get bored, they start looking for other people to spend their time with. So you have to kind of balance things out. You can't always have it your way. You have to learn how to, the give and take of life. This card also represents the Archangel Michael. So it it's like you have these spiritual forces around you supporting you. And it could also mean, if you're meeting someone new, that you're going to be meeting someone that you really get along well with. This is a card of two people who are very compatible. So if you're starting something new with someone who could be an air sign, you might be leaving a fire sign and moving toward an air sign, which would be Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. You're going to find that there's someone they're really compatible with you. You're on the same wavelength. So whether it's a career situation, which, because there's so many wands in this reading and just one cup, this could play out in career too, where you're moving away from some situation where there was a lot of conflict and competition, and you're moving on to partner with someone who's highly intelligent. It's like you have, your energies balance each other. Like you have the earth, that earthiness, that practicality, that compassion, and they have the technical knowledge, the verbal ability, the communication ability, the ability to think critically. So you're like a good match. You kind of fill in the blanks for each other, and you'd make a good partnership. That's as evidenced by this Temperance card. So you could be connecting with someone that you could have an intellectual rapport with, not just a love connection, but also a meeting of the minds. That's how I'd put it. So I feel like you have the opportunity to get away from the people that are not serving you, that are just stealing your energy or stealing your ideas or even stealing your stuff, or just being parasitic, you know. You want to get rid of the parasites. You don't want to be the host anymore. And you want to connect with someone who really wants to partner with you, who's good at partnership, who's looking to share. Because that's this card, is the share. It's a card of balance and sharing. See, they're pouring the cups back and forth. The fluid is going back and forth. It's a blending of energies. It's a sharing, a meeting of two sides meeting in the middle. So you could meet someone new where you have a much better, more compatible relationship. So the way that this could play out in two different scenarios. One, you leave a relationship that's not working, and you meet someone that you have a better connection, a more harmonious connection. Or you decide to start over with someone where you both, you voice your complaints and you try to start, wipe the slate clean and turn over a new page and try again. But to do that, you're going to have to compromise. You're both going to have to compromise and meet each other halfway. So it could go either way. If you want to save a relationship, it's going to involve a lot of compromise. Or you could decide to kick the person to the curb and meet someone totally new. That would be much more compatible with you than whatever you had in the past. And much more mature. Because here you have the page. This is the child. And here's the mature adult. So you might be meeting someone older. If not older by age, at least by temperament. They're responsible. They're older. They're not playing games. They want to connect. Whereas this person might have been younger. Acting like immature. Like a kid. And it's hard to have a relationship with a kid. You want to have a relationship with an adult. You're not in high school. You're not in grade school. So that's the difference. And I feel that you have the potential to connect with someone in March, or at least start the ball rolling. This is a beginning. It may not happen till later, but at least the opportunity is there, because there's the Four of Cups. There's that cup coming out of the cloud. So the opportunity is there. It's up to you whether you want to take it. Do I want to sip from this cup? I think it's going to be there for you, and you have to decide. And it's going to mean leaving something behind to embrace something new. But I think that the new thing will be much more fulfilling. So don't be afraid to take chances in March. Don't be afraid to let go of your security blanket. and take and